All right, let's go to Savannah in Dallas. What's up, Savannah?
Hi, how are you?
We're rocking and rolling. How's it going?
Good. Good, thank you.
How's Dallas? Is it 1,000 degrees already?
Yes, summers are humid and hot,
Yes. Oh, well, welcome to it. So how we doing? How can I help?
Good. I just have a question. I wanted to know how and when do I tell my 14-year-old little sister that about 13 years ago, her dad sexually assaulted me?
Oh, jeez, man. Do you feel comfortable sharing the story?
Yeah. About what happened?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I was about 8 years old. We were sitting on the couch, my entire family, my stepdad, me, my little sister. She was a newborn at this time, and my mom, and we were all sleeping except for him. And I woke up to
That's good. That's
him.
good. That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I woke up. And
gosh.
that's it.
I'm so sorry,
Thank you.
man. Like the. I'm sorry. That makes I have to take a breath. I'm taking a breath. You're the strong one here. I'm taking a breath. That it has I have a instant response that I have to exhale through sometimes on those. Thank you for sharing that. So where's that dude now?
Living his life, not too far away from me. He and my sister, they still have a supervised relationship. He's, from what I can tell, a good dad to her. Buys her any and everything that she wants,
It's not a good dad, but such it is. Did your parents? Did you tell? Walk me through post. What happens afterwards?
I didn't tell anyone for about a year, and after it happened, and when I did tell my mom, she didn't believe me. She asked me the typical questions like, "What were you wearing?" I was in like night pants, so she told me that he wouldn't have done that if I was wearing pants, and he wouldn't have done that with my mom sitting on the couch sleeping right next to us. And she asked him, and he said he would never do anything. And so it wasn't until many years later I couldn't stand being in the same house as him anymore, and I kind of forced my mom's hand, and she got us out.
Man. So you have the initial trauma, which is wrong. It's evil. Scorched earth. And then you turn to the one remaining adult in your life and say, help. And she says, what were you wearing? So that's trauma on top of a trauma. And then you got to go home every day to a tiger that had already damn near killed you once. And you got to go home to that every day. Right?
Yeah, that was the hardest part.
Listen, hon, all of this was the hardest part. I don't want to take away your story from you. All of this was the hardest part. Your mama should have believed you and should have got you out of there. And probably, and this is unfair to say, my dream for you would have been that you would have had a relationship with her that you would have felt safe coming that next day. That's not the 14-year-old. There's no fault there on the 14-year-old. That's an ecosystem issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that tells me there was already challenges in that home. When you say you forced her hand, what does that look like? Because she wouldn't have just left. She had to have known there was other issues going on.
I called her one day and I just told her I couldn't take it anymore. And if she didn't do something for me, I would call the police personally. And so she came home from work, and that's when we packed our stuff and left.
But that means she had to have known he's abusive and other stuff was going on. If she really didn't believe you, she wouldn't have left.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if she did or if she didn't want me taking matters into my own hands. She always said that she believes that I believe it happened.
Oh my gosh, dude, that's the most dismissive. re-traumatizing thing. Wow.
Hmm.
She's still defending that dude, huh?
Yes, she talks to him nearly every day.
I don't say this lightly, and if you've listened to this show for a long time, you know I don't say this lightly. You got to get away from your mom. And I know that feels like the only lifeline you got left, but I need you to hear me say it's killing you.
Me and my mom, we have a pretty good relationship.
I know, but
We
listen.
pretend that it didn't happen.
But it did. And as the great Vander Kolk says, your body's keeping the score every time you're around her. Every conversation, every time you pretend something's not happening, every time she like diverts from where she was or who she's on the phone with when you called.
Hmm.
I'm so sorry. So when
Thank
it
you.
comes to, I bet you got a, you better not tell anyone. Have you got that?
Yes, I was to never tell anybody, and especially not my sister.
Man. And so, hey, so you've heard me say, like, here's what I know. Your mother knows. Something's off. Something doesn't right here. And the you better never tell anybody is almost always a cornerstone of I know and I can't do life outside of this context. And it wouldn't surprise me if your mom's got a story too. I got some challenges too. Wow, gosh, what a mess. So here's the deal. I will not hold secrets for people. I won't.
Hmm.
If somebody I'll hold confidentiality. If a friend of mine calls and says, hey, my marriage is falling apart, I need some help, I will never tell that stuff. I'll go to the grave with those conversations. If someone's like, hey, I got a secret, I'm not holding that for you. It's not my job. Or especially if someone says, hey, this evil was done to you, you better not tell anybody. Nope. It's not how I work. It's not how I work. I'm not going to do that because I know the secret kills me.
Hmm.
It saves the perpetrator and it kills me. The secrets wreak havoc on you physiologically, heart attacks, cancer, stroke. It kills you. Okay. So I'm not into the business of keeping mom's precious little secrets. And we'll get to sister. So why now? What about right now makes you want to go tell her?
Well, I just had my first baby. I have a 7-month-old daughter, and now that I have her, things are much more real.
Yes.
Now that I'm a mom myself, I just couldn't imagine being my own mom.
Right. And so this stops with you, right?
Exactly.
You're going to believe your daughter, right?
Yes.
Good for you. That's you staring down a forest fire of trauma. Good for you.
Thank you.
Man. And okay, so hey, you said it. This whole thing feels a lot more real. That's your body saying, hey, we remember this story. Little girls get hurt. Yeah. And then their worlds explode. And then their mom puts a lid on the explosion and makes them drink that exploded air and blames you for it. Your body remembers this story. And so every time you hold that baby little girl, or especially every time mom holds that little baby girl, or that little baby girl is in the presence of somebody else just sitting on a couch, your body will sound the alarms. Loud, right? And they feel like anxiety and they feel like your stomach drops out from underneath you and you want to withdraw or you want to just go claw somebody's eyes out for seemingly no reason. That's your body saying, hey, we've done this before, and this time we were bigger and we got muscles this time, right?
Right.
Tell me why you want to tell your 14-year-old sister.
Well, I wasn't sure if I was going to ever tell her. And my partner is the one who has been really pushing me to work through this and find what's right and how to do the right thing, especially for my sister. My only problem is she has very severe anxiety. She's been medicated for it for many years now, and she's only 14. So I'm just scared that this will send her off the deep end. I don't know.
Yeah. So the two things I'm holding in tension right now. And I'm just going to process this out loud. So anybody listening to this is how I process this stuff in real time, because I'm getting this story in real time. I knew a little bit about what this call was about, not this level. So if you want to tell her just to tell her, don't. Or if you think you can tell her to finally get back at, don't.
Mhm.
You won't get the cathartic moment that you think you're going to get.
Mhm.
Okay. And I know that's hard to hear. The cathartic moment is the police. And I want to be super honest with you. It's 13 years ago. And that's going to be a hard case unless he's got child pornography on his computer, or a line of young girls comes forward and says, yeah, me too, me too, me too.
Mhm.
Be tough, right? Especially when your own mom didn't jump the gun back in the day. Something tells me that she knows something, but again, that's another conversation. Here's the other side of that tension. There's a 14-year-old girl in the home of a known sexual predator.
Mhm.
And that's the part I'm not okay with.
Right. Well, I mean, it's always supervised, which leads me to believe that my mom does know something.
Yes. Yes. So, have you gone to talk to somebody?
No.
Okay. You have to.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm telling you, because I love you. And I think you're doing heroic things right now. And I need you to hear me that on the other end of this, there is healing that can happen. And your life is going to look different. Okay?
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
going along as you're going along is a recipe for burning out. And when you get tired and you get exhausted from holding your mom's fake nonsense together and trying to protect yourself from a woman who should have believed you and she didn't, and also knowing that your little sister goes to visit with a sexual predator every couple of days, even though it's supervised, and you got this little baby girl. The greatest
Mhm.
gift you can give this little baby girl is a healed mom.
Absolutely.
Okay? So you need to tell the story. And if you run and tell it to a 14-year-old now, it's not going to help you. And B, yes, I think it's going to be tough on her. So generally speaking, if I'm going to go have a conversation like that with a 14-year-old girl, I'm going to bring a professional in. I'm going to call the
Mhm.
school counselor, and I'm going to have 1 or 2 or 3 same gendered people in their life that are adults, not kids.
Okay.
That can be a resource for them when their world falls apart, which it will. And when it does, that's not your fault. The person's fault
Okay.
is the sexual perpetrator that hurts kids.
Mhm.
It's the mother who didn't believe her daughter. That's the villain in the story, not you for telling the truth. Not you for saying, I'm not keeping these secrets. Okay?
Mhm.
Every bit of the story will come back to that you blew things up. You did
Yeah, that's
this
what
and you
I'm
did
scared
this.
of.
Hey, listen, it's 100% coming. And that's what I'm telling you. You need to get away from your mom. You think you've made peace. So here's the deal. We talk about fight or flight. You've heard that before?
Yes.
Okay. And there's fight, flight, and freeze. There's one more that we don't talk about very often. You know what it's called? Fawn, F-A-W-N. It's when you nuzzle up next to the person. And sometimes this is, you can sexually nuzzle up to somebody. I can placate them, or which is a common trauma response. Somebody abuses you, and so what do? You get closer because it's safer when I'm in here closer. Or you nuzzle up relationally, and you make peace. You concede your own body, your own safety, so that the illusion of connection can remain. And your body's
Mhm.
keeping the score. And what I want for you is, I want you to go home and go to sleep. I want you to hand your daughter off to somebody that you trust and feel full of joy that that person gets to enjoy the beauty of your daughter, not terror.
Mhm.
I want you to be able to go on a date with your husband and leave your daughter with somebody and be able to breathe and when you're out with when you're out, I want you to be able to breathe,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, I always wonder if one day my daughter sees her as a trusted adult and she tells her something that needs to be reported or needs to be told to me,
Mhm.
will she? Has she learned her lesson?
Who?
My mom.
Oh,
Like, can she be a trusted adult to my daughter?
you've got to let that fantasy go, sister. She showed you what she's made of,
Hmm.
and I'm sorry for that because you deserved better than that.
Hmm.
I can get choked up on your behalf. You deserved better. I got a little girl too. I got a 6-year-old.
Hmm.
You deserve better than that.
Yeah, I know.
And I'm sorry. The great thing you can do now is make sure your daughter doesn't have that.
Hmm.
You can make sure your daughter knows she is anchored in. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that starts with you getting the healing that you need.
Hmm.
Probably your partner's gonna need to join you on some of this too, because there's gonna be some relational dynamics that will shift and will be hard. And you got to stop trying to hold this thing together because it's imaginary and it's painful and it's duct taped and the string is really starting to fray around the edges, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
And I'm the only one holding it together.
that's right. And it's not your job.
Hmm.
It's your mom's job.
Yes.
It's that piece of crap guy who abused you's job,
Hmm.
not the little girl. And the way this will be told, the story that will be told, will roll all the way back to that 6 or 7-year-old little girl, that this was your
Hmm.
fault. And Savannah, hear me say this is not your fault.
Thank you. That's very nice to hear.
No, it's not very nice. It's true. Okay? Very nice to
Hmm.
hear as your lawn looks nice. I like what you did with the mulch in the garden. That's not, it's, I'm telling you, this one's not on you. The healing is, it's your steps to take. Whew. Here's the thing. Today, open up your phone book and call a counselor. Call BetterHelp if you need to, and we've got links there that we can hook you up. Call somebody today. Okay. I think this one needs to be in person. If I need to call somebody you can go meet with in person. Pay what you got to pay, move some budget money around, make this thing happen because you're worth it, and start to tell this story. Okay. And work with your counselor on telling the 14-year-old. It makes me feel a little bit better that all the visits are supervised.
Hmm.
And if she's got that level of protection right now, that she's not just being fed a predator right now, that makes me feel a little bit better. Okay.
Right.
Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Work through that with your counselor. Okay. And you're looking at about a year probably. Okay. It's not quick.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. You're looking at about a year. Okay. You're going to have to learn how to do life differently because you have been ready to fight or run for your whole life. You don't even know what peace feels like, sister.
Hmm. It's a common theme in pretty much every uncomfortable scenario in my life. Is I revert back to feeling that same feeling of kind of just run and hide.
Yes. Because the one person that was supposed to have your back didn't.
Hmm.
And then you went to the other, for sure, one person that's going to have your back, and she didn't. And that little 6-year-old girl knew at that moment, you are on your own. You can't sleep deeply. You can't get super connected relationally. You are on your own. You're tending to the fire and making clothes and making sure that we don't get attacked. And nobody can handle that. No physical body, B-O-D-Y, can handle that. And so when I say, I'm sorry you've been carrying this so much, I'm sorry you've been carrying this so much. This is professional help level stuff. And it's going to be a process. You're going to have to relearn how to live. And you're going to have to change the oil while the car's still driving, right? Because you got a little one, right? And you're worth every single step of the way. Thank you so much for being brave. Call us back on the way. I'm walking with you through this whole thing. Call me anytime.